This is me interviewing David Beckham. Until today, this was the proudest interview I have ever done. In a second, I'm going to be talking to Jonathan Faña, the greatest ever Dominican footballer. The Dominican Republic is playing in the Gold Cup for the first time in its history, June 14th, 10 p.m. Eastern Time against Mexico, the opening match of the Gold Cup. Jonathan Faña is a legend of Dominican football. And by the way, English isn't even his first language. So really props to him for sitting down with us and doing this so that most of our audience can understand it and get to know him. What an exciting time. This is one of the, I would say, one of the biggest interviews I think we've ever done. But also, it's one of those things where for one of the things I've been proud of doing this show
is working with me.
No, not that.
We'll just move that down.
But both of us being Caribbean Latinos, a Cuban and a Dominican, involved
doing a show about soccer.
Which
is like, an Icelandic person and a British person doing a show about baseball for a lot of people.
So we're breaking ground up for a lot of people. So even other Latinos of different backgrounds. Sometimes they it could be Mexican or just Central American or whatever. They'll be like, yeah, I like soccer, but I don't know if I want to hear about soccer from a Dominican and a Cuban.
Sure.
And over time, people have now been more interested in.
We've won them over.
We've won them over with showing that Caribbean soccer has a place in in world football.
Absolutely.
And our next guest is one of those people that helped move that forward, especially for the Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. I believe up until I think Friday was the leading goal scorer for the Dominican Republic, and now is officially in second. Is that correct? So it might be a sad time.
Being second's not bad.
Being second is not bad. For a long time, I was the first. But the leading goal scorer for the Dominican Republic national team's history, played for a bunch of different clubs all over the world, and it's an honor to have him here on the precipice of the Dominican Republic playing the Gold Cup this Saturday, an event that I get to be hosting a watch party at the Hudson in Washington Heights alongside our next guest, the one and only Jonathan Faña. Jonathan Faña, un placer. How are you, man?
Good, everything okay. It's all right.
Okay.
Thank you for the presentation, but I think that I not can make it this, It's a simple one more player for the football and enjoy this.
No, this is huge. This is huge
because very humble.
It takes some really dedicated people to build up the footballing in the Caribbean, because a lot of people, if they have dual nationals, they want to go play for maybe a bigger country that has more history. But you were dedicated to the Dominican national team, and now qualifying for the Gold Cup, moving on, potentially qualifying for a World Cup in the future. How does that feel to see the Dominican Republic football growing?
That's it. All the dream of all the people play football in Dominican. We dream every day to being World Cup. And right now we started. And I know how everyone think about this. Is great job for that people make this for the first time in the history, and it's. You see how it's my pressure, because we're fighting a lot of years for being there, and right now we had it, and we live the dream right now. We stay over there and enjoy every game and watching, make a time to be there and watch the game and support the team. And all the players is in the national team right now representing the country is approval then.
Yeah, this is, and I want to just give you credit, because you are doing this interview in English, and clearly, obviously, it is not your first language. But I appreciate you taking on that challenge, because I know it's not always easy. Even like
also, we make a lot of mistakes in English on the show, so don't worry about it.
Because even my mom has lived in New York for 50 years, and refuses to speak English. She does not want. She would never even think about doing something like this, being on a microphone, being on camera, because it's just she understands it, but not willing to make a mistake on camera.
They get nervous, it's hard, but it's just a sample for the younger player for the art. They know learning English because they want to play outside the country. Maybe they come here, go to somewhere. Oh, no matter. where they want to go, and they need to speak English too. They need to.
Also, social media makes it so much
Yeah,
easier.
it's easier for everywhere they're going. Because I know the football inside the field is only one language, but outside the field you need to talk and understand some culture when they make the rule or lay messenger to you to do something inside the field or pass them to the other player. You need to know.
My wife's name is Donna, Donna, but my entire family, all Cubanos, they spell it Dana. And that's Dana. So my wife goes, your family doesn't love me because they misspell my name. I go, no. Sound it out. En español, that is Donna.
It's Donna.
You're Donna, that's Donna.
Como dicen, McDonald's, Madonna. We get it.
Man, you're Donna, you're Dana. But that's Donna.
No, it's something, in 2018, I went to, so my family's from Santiago. I'm wearing the Cibao FC kit. Yeah, you
Good
played.
club. Yeah, I play for them.
Exactly.
And
I have the shirt, but it doesn't
you
fit.
had it. Okay.
It's very small.
They need to make another one. They need to fight.
Maybe put two of them together.
So
they send them.
Yeah?
He can buy it for the West. And,
Okay.
You know,
So
he know that it's
So I went to Dominican Republic and I made a trip out of it. Went to go see my family. Went and then went to CONCACAF Champions League, Cibao against Chivas, and it was the first time I got to see a game in Dominican Republic, and it was a transformative experience. It was something where when I came back, I told him, I was like, bro, when you are hearing the crowd speak in Dominican Spanish about football, and it's like, what am I hearing? I'm used to hearing Mexican. I'm used to hearing American. I'm used to hearing British, Spain.
España.
But coño, like when you see it. But it's like football. And it's just like
a foul and you hear everyone go, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful because it's like we were talking about before. Like people don't think that Dominicans know anything about the sport. They don't know how to play it. And so can you talk about you're just getting into the sport when you're competing with, like, baseball was probably a real option for you, a real thing to play.
You know, that's in the is the free ocean. We play baseball, but all my family, for parts of my dad, they play football, they play soccer over there.
How did your
they were the only ones.
I'm from Moca, in the city, and they bring the sacerdote. The school.
Okay.
And they bring the sport over there in the school, and they started over there, and I started over there when I was younger, and we started learning football over there, and I play.
Okay.
So this week I introduced to the football, and I love football when I started playing.
And it was balompié.
Balompié.
That's what we call it. Balompié.
Yeah. And over here, soccer.
Yeah.
But no football. In Europe, they call it football.
There's so many words for it.
The other day, they had conversation, Donald Trump on the president of the FIFA. They explain about this, because they come in this month, the World Club. Where they're going to play.
Yeah. And then Trump had ICE take Infantino.
He got arrested.
It was really bad. No, it's remarkable to see, because even a Dominican growing up in Brooklyn, like me, I got into the sport through the FIFA video game, and then little by little, I started meeting and playing a little bit with Colombian. It was mostly Colombians that got me into the game and brought me to my first game. But then when I went in 2018 and saw the culture there, and then I got this shirt there at the stadium, and then somebody from Cibao FC saw me wearing it on our show, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're on American TV! Like, can I send you another one?" But I started talking to them, and they were talking to me about how difficult and what the challenges are about making the sport more popular in Dominican Republic.
Yeah, it's difficult.
It's the same. It's sort of the same problems we have here. Like Americans don't really follow all these other sports, but in Dominican Republic, getting the sport just more awareness and more people knowing about it. Did you feel any responsibility to do that, to get the sport in front of more people?
It's difficult to make that because the people don't like the other sport. They old man, putting in the baby or the kid when they born. It's only bring to the baby. They think it's all the money is in the baby.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But the other sport have that money. The football is a lot of money. You can get, but you need to sacrifice another thing too, and make it serious to go training. But I think it's that we go trying to get the football in the R because the people like, everyone waiting for years to watching the World Cup behind the TV. And right now they have the league, they have a lot of players for Europe represent the country. It's very nice. We have Filippo play in
Leeds
in
England.
Mariano play for Real Madrid.
There's a guy with a German name, right?
Heinz Marshall.
Heinz Marshall play in Portugal.
El nombre muy dominicano.
Muy dominicano.
We talk about him all the time because it says
Heinz Marshall.
De lo mío, right?
Es el accountant.
Because we joke about it all the time. Dominicans are everywhere. Dominicans are
everywhere that you're going to find one Dominican.
That's true.
You need if there's a barbershop in whatever country.
I found a Dominican barbershop in London. I'm like, you guys are everywhere.
In 2014, I think, I don't remember, we traveling to Indonesia.
Yeah.
And we find a lot of people from
Indonesia?
Yeah, we play again in Indonesia, the national team, and we surprised when we saw too many people from the over there.
Is there even a direct flight? How did you get to Indonesia?
It's a series of boats. It's a series of boats.
You gotta go through the Panama Canal. That's crazy.
Yeah.
When obviously you said your father loved football, but when you explain to other people, cousins, family members, that I'm an athlete, they go, "Oh, Yankees, right?" Like they think you play baseball, but you're telling them like, "No, I'm playing soccer.
No,
I want to play soccer." That must have been
everyone's surprised. They don't believe that we can play football. I live with myself. When any locker room they're going to play, it's only me, Dominican.
Yeah.
Everyone from Brazil, Colombia. All over the country, only me is from the art. Everyone surprised and talking bad about the art because nobody can play football. Only baby, they think it's only baby the sport over there in the art. But we have a lot of players, younger player. This is a good player, and they like football. We love football. The art love football.
Yeah, it's. I
mean,
mean,
you need to travel to the art to
You're right.
How the people love football.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, I was watching. You did a podcast last year, Tandem, which is, and it was fantastic. So shout out to look at it. And I feel like I learned a lot about you. And when you mentioned sacrifice, I mean, to be a Dominican footballer, not even necessarily like famous, but just to be a professional, you had to make so many sacrifices. So when it came, like at a young age, where did you see that it was like a real possibility? And where was that like that at a young age, you must have said like, okay, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to do this. And I've been to DR plenty of times. You see what life is like, and it can be very fun. And
it's very difficult. Everything,
the music and everything. And you can do that and live a fairly normal life. But you must have said at an early age, like, okay, I'm not going to do that and focus on football.
Yeah, you need to decide anything that you want in the life, and I make a decide that I want to be professional.
Yeah.
I remember that we watching in TV the league from Mexico, and I talked with my parents and said, I be there. I want to be professional. I wanted to use me in the TV.
Yeah.
And I make it that. That's in my dream that I was gonna get it, and I start sacrificing. Make it the job, I'm training every day, 3 hours a day. I forget it. I go to the school, leave the school, going to play and enjoy the soccer. And everyone tell me, you crazy. Why you going to play football? You think that you're going to make it? I said, yes, I'm going to make it. You're going to see. And then pass of the year, they're going to They see I can make it.
Yeah.
Go outside the country, play professional, and
But
everyone.
you see, even like you were talking about being in the locker room, and like the Brazilians and the Colombians are like, "Oh, you're Dominican, you're never gonna." Blah, blah. It's Dominicans are also like you, and you're never gonna be because
they're like, listen to that Brazilian guy.
we don't. There's something about the culture to do anything that is not baseball. Like we're not allowed to like believe in our. I'm a comedian. I came up doing stand-up comedy. Like for my family, they're like, okay, whatever. Like just don't get in trouble. Like,
My mother still's like, te pagan por eso. Por chiste. Okay. Te van a dejar tu esposa.
So like even just to get there with all that, that's why I find your story so inspiring, because it's similar to a lot of, especially Dominicans my parents were born in Santiago, and then I'm born here, and then they bring that same culture and that same concern, that same fear of like, no, get a job, become a lawyer, become a doctor, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like to do anything different, it's like, what? Like, it's a risk.
Everyone, what?
Yeah.
Why you could take it that way?
Yeah,
know, everyone take the design. You want to go to the wrong way? It's difficult, but that's it that I'm telling you before. You need to believe in you, believe in yourself, and push yourself. And you get it, everything that you want it.
What was the moment you knew that you got your first opportunity to prove that you could be a professional?
I think that when I had 12 years old, I get it full because I traveling to Mocha, to the capital, to play soccer, and I get the leader in score, MVP in the tournament.
Wow.
And I start doing more in this. I say, okay, I need to push back the baseball, take the football serious, and I can make it to be professional.
Oh, so you were playing baseball at the same time when you were young? How dare I? Where did you play baseball? Like first base?
No, I played third
base.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a catcher.
No,
I didn't want to run.
Good. You're bigger, you know.
Oh, the catcher.
You don't want to run it.
I sent down.
But it's difficult. That's the position more difficult in the baseball.
Yeah, my knee still hurt.
The people not thinking that the catcher. They only think, the catching is the only way there, wait for the ball, no move, no do. It's more difficult position.
We were just talking about that before you got here. That catchers could be good goalkeepers.
Yeah,
like maybe that.
That's the saying, man. Because the people see the goalkeeper only start by the goal, no move too much. You know,
right? I need to see a Dominican goalkeeper be like. They're like, what, you want me to throw a curveball?
So, just a reminder to everybody watching this: Saturday at the Hudson, 7 p.m. Doors, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know why I'm saying Eastern time, but obviously the game is 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Show up Western time if you want. To a location in the Bronx.
Feel free. Watch tonight.
So
come through. Me and Jonathan are going to be there. It's going to be a whole bunch of people. It's gonna
after parties at La Marina.
Nah, man, it's gonna be really dope. So when it comes to seeing, so this Saturday, obviously the first match of the 2025 Gold Cup, Dominican Republic against Mexico. This is, one of the biggest game. This is the biggest game in Dominican history. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, that's the bigger game for the national team. It's the first time they World Cup. But that's the dream. Everyone, the federation, the people, the community, the player, and we're gonna face Mexico.
Yeah,
for the fake game, in LA, how many people from Mexico be on the stadium that day,
Exactly. 50-50 Dominicans.
It's difficult.
Yeah,
we believe some that we got a 50-50 on the stadium because we have good national team right now, a competitive good player. But it's Mexico. It's Mexico.
Yeah.
We need to think
the level.
The story is different,
Yeah.
For more players that we had from Europe, they play in the league over there. It's difficult because Mexico had it too.
Yeah.
How do you feel about watching the national team now? Obviously, I was watching the game. República Dominicana contra Guatemala in the World Cup qualifier, and Dorni Romero scores a goal. So I believe he is now the leading goal scorer for
Yeah,
the Dominican national
true.
team in history. You are second.
Yeah.
But so when you see that, how do you feel about seeing where the national team is now? And I mean, I don't even really have to ask you. I already know how challenging it must have been early on with the national team. I mean, I've heard stories about why, like players like Mariano Diaz, players why junior football didn't want to initially join because they don't know what the national there's not a lot of order. There's not a lot of direction. But from where it is now to what you were a part of, how much pride do you have to see where they are now? And then also, is there a little bit like, man, I wish I could be playing on this team now?
No, we're not thinking about there. I want to be there. I very approve for them exactly, but they get it and they we better now. And I'm very happy for Donny Romero be the leader on the national team right now. Past mine, hopefully they continue and score and somebody coming in behind too and doing the same thing. For me personally, I'm very happy for this and so my country doing like this, play competitive on the Caribbean or on the Central America with the good national team to play against them, before we can have that chance, that opportunity, but we fighting before. Right now they over there because we're doing the job before. For the people continue to get it. The younger player need to wait for the chance because now the national team, they learn it and continue doing the job for the other player coming.
I mean, not just the Gold Cup, but also the Olympics. I have the Olympic shirt
the Olympic shirt
back there. And that was another, just like, there were people making videos that were like, Dominican Republic in the Olympics? How do they have a team? How do they have a soccer team good enough to even make it in there? And it's, the teams, like even the game against Guatemala, where we were up 2-1. I'm like, I'm already like booking my World Cup. Like,
where's the final going to be again? Because I need to be there.
But seeing the team at that point, there is the Olympics. In those World Cup qualifiers, the teams that were sort of, especially in CONCACAF, that we're used to seeing in Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, like where there's a certain, we know Mexico, Canada, US, pretty much always going to be there, except in 2018 when the US wasn't there, but they're pretty much always going to be there. And then there's always the fight for those 3-4 nations that are like, can we get to that World Cup? And it's like, can Dominican Republic now be in that fight of just like maybe one of those 3-4 teams that gets a real opportunity? So the Olympics, this Gold Cup, it's getting to it feels very different than it was even like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
You feel a bit different and you see that we can do and continue and be in bigger scenario, and be there with the football, with the soccer, all the national team, because it's only not the Olympic on the senior team. On the 20, we go in the World Cup 20. We make a 17 woman 20 World Cup in the air. That's a different scenario, and we continue. And we believe right now that we can be there fighting with the top national team in the area and the Caribbean, the Central America. It's 11 with Mexico, US, Canada, Panama is different, Costa Rica, but as soon as possible we get it. We're gonna fight him.
I have a plan to help Dominican football. Okay, look, the music is extremely popular all over the world.
Of course,
right? Dominican music's huge.
El Alfa, right? Everybody,
massive. There's Dominicans in Indonesia. I just found out. There's Dominicans everywhere. What if El Alfa made a song to get Dominicans from all over the world to sign up to play for the Dominican national team?
An anthem.
You know what I mean? To unite all the Dominicans around the world. I think immediately you'd have a team full of Europeans and Indonesians and everyone else.
I think even I noticed it in the last like 5 years on Instagram, on Twitter. I was on a Twitter live, a Twitter space, like listening to after a national team game. There were probably like 400 Dominicans listening in to a couple journalists and talk about the game. And just seeing that, I'm like, all right, there is a community. There are people. I'm following. There's like a bunch of Dominican national team, like women's national team, that follow me or follow our account, and it's just little by little, more and more people are getting aware and seeing it as like not only just a real sport to care about, but something to take pride in, something that represents the country in a really positive way. And that's the one thing that I think, and maybe you can talk about this a little bit too, that football is different than the other sports. I played baseball. I grew up in New York, so I played handball. Like my brother, William Polanco, look him up. He's one of the best handball players you've ever probably seen. And the community around football is something so different. It is almost like a language that everybody understands in the world.
The passion on the football, is different on all the sports. It's different. When you be inside the field and play, or you see somebody score, you see the stand, everyone cry and jump.
Yeah.
It's different. You see that feeling, because in the baseball you need to wait for how many times for one home run, But the football is every second. It's emotional game play. Different, we're talking about Jamin Lamar before, when he had the dribbling, the scare. Everyone, that's the different on the sport, the football.
So it's constant excitement.
We can quote Dominican Jonathan Faña. He said baseball is boring.
Yeah.
Right? He said
it. For sure.
We don't make the rules.
I love baseball too. I like it.
Yeah.
But right now, I can sit down behind the TV and watch one game.
But it's something difficult for Dominicans to say. Dominicans being like, oh no, baseball is okay, or not.
Last day I had that conversation with a friend, and we talking. He say it's too boring right now. The baseball, the roots change, everything. It's difficult. We sit down. Right now, the pitcher can get more than 20 seconds.
Right.
The bat can go out.
They're trying to make the game more exciting.
But
4 hours sitting there eating peanuts. It's crazy.
It's but they change the emotion in the baseball. Now when you time after the nine inning, putting one play in the second base. That's
Yeah.
See, this is
the shift killed everything.
A Cuban and two Dominicans talking about baseball negatively. It's
while wearing a Yankee hat. This is great.
you fan Yankee, no?
Yeah, I have to be cool.
You're gonna
the way I say it. You played in Puerto Rico. You played for the Puerto Rico Islanders.
Yeah, I played for Puerto Rico.
Was that when they were part of Liga Puerto Rico, or when they were in USL?
No, USL.
USL.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because that's right when our show started in 2015 was the first time we started the show. And we were talking about I hope we get big enough to go watch a game in Puerto Rico. What was that like, getting to play in an island that is a lot like Dominican Republic? It's not known for being a football haven, but a team in Puerto Rico. I don't know why MLS doesn't have one.
But it's the same thing like they are, in Puerto Rico love the football too. Yeah. They have too many passion, the people, and they have good national team too.
Yeah.
And but they parrot the US and all the players they can play with them.
Right.
It's good. The people love football over there too. They can play.
On the Tandem podcast, they were talking about how you couldn't walk in the mall. You couldn't walk through
Miami.
Because the people were. Yes, that's great. We live over there, great time. The people love me over there.
Yeah. No,
when the parents and friends come and visit me in Puerto Rico, we not can go out right now because everyone want to sign a picture.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Walking around Santurce signing shirts.
It's amazing because we interviewed a lot of MLS players, and Bofo Salcedo. He played for RSL. And then he went to Pumas in Liga MX, and he was on our show, and he was saying that the difference from playing in Utah, and then he was playing at Pumas. He said, I can't leave my house, I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, because he said they lost the game, and he texted one of the other players, do you want to go get dinner? And they were like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's it. The same. That's it. The normal thing that we do over here.
Yeah.
In America, but in Mexico.
No.
Man,
not even.
And you play for Puma.
Yeah.
La UNAM is
it's
in the capital. Everyone watching is there. university is a lot of people around that club. You know, you need to.
Yeah, you can't go to
careful.
dinner.
You know, can't go anywhere.
No,
you need to be careful.
So, mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
We turn the microwave on. Jonathan, this has been seriously one of the coolest things we've ever gotten to do. I know, for as a Dominican and who's interested in the sport and became like a fanatic of the sport, and then this national team is allowing me to connect with my culture, with my family in a different way, especially un dominicano que nació acá. There's also a little bit like, que son gringo or whatever. So we have to fight with that too. But this has been this sport is something that changed my life. Just the way I'm sure it changed your life in tremendous ways. Being able to do this, we've interviewed like David Beckham, Jonathan Faña, right? So being able to do this, it's like I don't take the game for granted because even though I did not play and I didn't necessarily grow up playing, it's given us opportunities that we never could have dreamed of. So being able to talk to you about this and then being with you this Saturday at the Hudson, Washington Heights, come through. Everybody is welcome.
It's going to be a full party. There's going to be a band.
There's going to be a band, típico. There's going to be
think of a Dominican Friday night party and add futbol. And this is going to be awesome.
So it's going to be fantastic. And another reminder for people that the Dominican national team shirt that's been like, it's very difficult to get it. They're going to be on sale at the event. So please come through. It's going to be an absolute blast. And Jonathan Faña will be there alongside, I'm sure, a lot of friends and family. So, Jonathan, un placer. Muchísimas gracias. Sinceramente, un honor entrevistarte.
El placer fue mío y de verdad que súper contento de que el fútbol siga uniendo todas muchas personas alrededor del mundo.
Perfecto.
Wow, bueno.
All right, thank
Próximo
you.
un cubano se va a sentar. Tiene que escapar. Pero
Hay bastante cubano bueno
sí,
que
sí,
juegan al
hay
fútbol.
mucho.
Okay.